What's up guys, welcome back, and in this video I'd like to start on the admin backend of our application. Up to this point there's been no way for an admin to come in and add data to our models. The only way to do that would be to go into our database and add the data manually. Now originally I was going to go through the entire process of building out an admin panel to enable us to do CRUD on our data. I was going to use a front-end admin template for styling and just build out the functionality from there. In the process, there were a lot of topics to cover, such as authentication, permissions, file uploading, etc. However, I researched a few admin packages that could maybe help us out with our process. I heard about a package called Laravel Voyager, which seemed to be the most popular one. A few things stood out to me. One, they have a really nice website with a lot of valuable information. Also, the UI of the actual package itself is very clean, modern, and polished. Two, they have a very active GitHub repo with well over 5,000 stars and a lot of activity in the issues. Three, they have really good documentation here. And four, they also have some videos which are short and get to the point of what Voyager is trying to do. So I figured I'd give it a try, and if it fits our needs, we'll continue to use it, and if not, we'll start from scratch. Spoiler alert, we're going to be using it. If you're still confused as to what Voyager does, it basically gives you an admin panel that allows you to perform CRUD actions, that's create, read, update, and delete, on all your models. Another huge benefit is the time that we'll be saving. On one of the applications I built for my client, I started the same way we started here, where I just built the functionality for the user first. And then eventually I moved on to the admin part where someone can manage everything. The admin part took over 2 times longer than actually building out the functionality of the application itself. The advantage of starting from scratch is you have complete control over everything, but that doesn't mean that you can't customize things in Voyager, which we'll take a look at in future videos. So weigh the pros and cons given your situation and make a decision based off of that. So let's go ahead and get started with Voyager. Now, when you install Voyager, it has its own set of tables in order to function the way it's supposed to. Unfortunately, one of those table names has a naming collision with one of our table names. It also has a categories table, which is just used for demo purposes, but we also have a categories table. And I kind of wish that they used naming prefixes on their tables so they can minimize naming collisions like this one. So we have to change our categories name to something else. If we take a look at our database, we have to change this table name, this categories table name, to something else. So I'm going to be changing it to category, singular. So let's go ahead and do that. Go into our code, and the first thing I want to change is our model. Now, we don't have to change the model here because they have a model as well, but it lives in a different namespace, so we can leave that. But we have to change the name. So the table name will now be category. Sorry, this goes in here. Okay. The next thing we have to do is change our migrations. So there's 2 of them, I think. So we have to change this one over here. So change it to category, and we have to change the one before it, I think. Yeah, this one, category here. And we also have to change our seeders. Let me make sure I save this. And where's our seeders? So this one, let's rename it to category table seeder, because if we don't, then there's going to be an error when we install Voyager. Also, let's make sure we rename it in here. And let's also make sure we change this over here. And make sure we save this one. Now let's do a composer dump autoload. And let's see if that still works. So we'll do a PHP artisan migrate fresh, and we'll add a seed flag. Okay, let's check our database real quick and see if it's been renamed. And okay, cool. So it's renamed to category now. Let's just double check our app real quick just to make sure that it works. Refresh, see if this works. Okay, it still seems to like work. Okay, now we can finally install Voyager. So let's go to documentation, let's go to installation, and let's go ahead and do this. Okay, great, that seemed to work. What's the next step? Okay, this is all set up already, but we have to make sure that we set our app URL. So it's just this. Double check that. Here. Okay. What's the next step? We can do this. This command installs it with dummy data, which is good as an example. So we'll do that. Okay, awesome. That seems to have worked. So to go into our backend, we just have to go to /admin, and it's already set up our users and our permissions and everything like that. So the login is admin@admin.com, and the password is password. So here we are in our admin dashboard that Voyager provides. And as you can see, the UI is very nice and clean. And here are all the things it's installed. So the dashboard is just an overview of all your models, not all your models, sorry, the demo models. And if you go into Tools, Database, this is where it shows all of our models, and you can specify what they call bread. Bread is just this equivalent of CRUD. It's browse, read, edit, add, and delete, but they call it bread, so we'll refer to it as bread from now on. And for any of our own models in our own application, we can add CRUD functionality as well, sorry, bread functionality as well. If you look at their examples, they already have examples for posts. So you can do bread on posts. So this is the browse feature. And you can edit, delete, view. So if you edit, you can go ahead and edit the post. And this is what we want in our own model. So we want this for products, so we can add and edit products. We want it for coupons, so we can do that for coupons, and all of our models in our own application. So let's go ahead and do that. So go to Tools, Database, and let's start with products. We can go here, it says add bread to this table. And we're presented with a whole bunch of settings. We can just leave everything here. This allows you to specify an icon. So for products, let's go ahead and use this one, Voyager bag. So we can close this. I wish they had an option to use a different icon set. You're limited to these icons, which kind of, it's alright. They have a good variety, but it'd be nice if you can use like something like Font Awesome. Anyways, this we can just leave all this by default. And here are all of our fields for the product. And all of these are permissions on each field. So for ID, let's just turn everything on. And let's change the input type to hidden. It's kind of confusing in my opinion, but from my understanding, hidden is just like a read-only field. So we want the ID to be read-only. For name, we want just a normal text box. For the slug, we want a text box as well. For details, we want a rich text area. So rich text box. I'll show you what that is in a sec. For price, we can do number here. And it's going to be in cents for now. Maybe we'll convert that to dollars later on. Sorry, no, details we'll keep as a text box. but description we'll put as a rich text box. Featured is a Boolean, so we can represent that with just a checkbox. We don't need created that and updated that. And let's go ahead and submit this. So that's been submitted, and if you look here on the left of our menu, we can see a new products menu item here. And if you click it, we can see our products table here. And this is our products table, and we can do bread on it. So this is the browse feature, and we can go ahead and edit our fields here. We can, for example, laptop 1. Let's change it to laptop 1000. Save it. And that's been saved. If we go into our application, let's open a new tab here. And go into products. You'll see right there, laptop 1000. We changed it. So yeah, we have the ability to do bread on our models that quickly. One thing I want to show you is if you click into it, you'll see that these tags are being rendered in our template. So let's go ahead and go into our code and make it so it doesn't show the tags and actually renders the HTML. So that would be in product.blade, yep. And right here, we can just change it to that. So, okay, so now you can have control over the rich text area. Let me just put this here. So now if we edit it, and we can do whatever we want. Say we want line breaks, we want to make this bold. That should work. Save this. And refresh. And that worked right there. Cool. Alright, a few things here. I'd like to move this up because this is somewhat important in our application and we're going to be clicking it often. So in order to change the menu, if you go to Tools, Menu Builder, you have the ability to create menus. By default, the admin one is here already. And later on, we'll take a look at how we can put our own application menu in here. So we go to the Builder. It's as easy as just dragging and dropping it to wherever you want it. So let's put it up here. Saves it if you refresh. And there it is. Cool. So if you notice, if we click on products, it takes a second or two for this to load. And depending on how many products you have in our database, this will take longer and longer. The reason is because it's getting everything at once, and we have like what, about 100 products, and that doesn't take too long, but once we have thousands of products, it's going to take longer. So there's an option for server-side pagination, which you should definitely turn on if you have a lot of records in the database. So if we go to products, edit the bread, and there's an option here for server-side pagination. Turn it on, save it, and now it should be much quicker. Products. See how much quicker that was? And there's pagination here. I guess the default is 15. And it has a pretty good search functionality too. Now that we're doing server-side, we can't search everything. Before it used data tables if you don't have server-side pagination on. So you can search it really quickly, but now that server-side pagination is on, this will actually search the entire table. So for example, if you want to search for name contains like the word appliance, because we have some appliances in here, it goes ahead and then searches. So That's how you search. What else can I show you? How about this? If we edit one of these, see how the checkboxes, it defaults to off and on? I'd like to change that so it's a more meaningful name, like yes or no. So let's go into here, edit our bread again. And if you look at the documentation, and where is it? Bread builder. Yeah, display options. Actually, no, additional field options. So there's a whole bunch of options you can do here. So for checkbox, if we do this, we can change the text of the on and off. Let's go ahead and do that. So featured, we can do like that, and I don't want it to be checked, so this changes to yes, changes to no. Submit that. How is that invalid? Okay. And now if we go back to products, and you can see this changed too. It used to be 0 and 1, and now it's a nice badge there. And now we have a more meaningful name, yes or no. Let me also show you validation. So for in here, when you're editing a product, there's also built-in validation. So show you that right here. So for example, if you want to do something like this, so say you didn't want this to be more than a certain number of characters. Let's just do something small so we can see the validation in effect. So let's just go ahead back into here, database, products, edit bread, and for name, we can just paste that in here. So it's required, and let's do max of only 5 characters, just so we can see the validation in effect. And one thing I was caught up on, I couldn't get this working for the longest time, and there's actually a bug in the current version. So make sure that this display name is only for, like it says, the display name, and this is the actual name in the database. These two have to be the same in order for validation to work correctly. Like I said, I was caught up on this for hours, and I finally figured it out. Hopefully they fix it soon. But make sure if you're doing validation, again, make sure these two are the same, and the validation should work. So let's go ahead and save this. So for name, we did, what was it again? Max 5, right? Max 5 or min 5? Wait, what did we do? Maximum 5. Okay, so let's go ahead and go in here and edit. Now if we try to save this, since this is more than 5 characters, it should not work. There you go. So if we change it to lap, that should work. Cool. Let's go ahead and make bread for the rest of our models. So you can fast forward this if this is second nature to you and if it's boring, but I'm going to do it. So let's do one for category. Again, this is their categories, and it's just there for demo purposes, but let's do one for our category. And let's pick a font. I actually think there's a Voyager categories here. Let's grab that. Okay, so category is pretty straightforward. Let's just do this again. Hidden. Name is going to be text. Slug is going to be text. We don't need created that. Save that. Categories is now down here, not to be mistaken with their categories. Let's move it up. Builder. Categories, just drag it up to underneath products. Save it, refresh, And there it is there. Let's add one and see if it automatically works in our application. It should. So let's name one called instruments. Slug is instruments. Save it. And there it is. If we go into our application, if you go to shop, there's a new one there. If you click it, does it still work? Yep, still works. And obviously there's no products in there yet. You're probably wondering how we can associate a category with a product. We'll go over that later. Let's continue to add more bread to the rest of our models. Let's add one for coupons. And I might fast forward this when I'm editing. You can go ahead and do it yourself if you want. Let's pick an icon here. Let's use this one for coupons. And coupons is pretty straightforward as well. So we have our code, should be text. Our type should be text as well. Actually, no. It should be a dropdown of either fixed or %off. So let's pick a dropdown. So select dropdown. And in order to select the fields you want for the dropdown, you just do something like this. So you want the default to be whatever you want, and here are the options. This is the value, and this is what appears in the dropdown. So if you remember our coupons episode, these were the values we used for fixed value and %off coupons. So the value is going to be text. And another option here is if we specify null empty string, if it gets an empty string, then it's going to recognize that as null and it'll pass null to our database. So we want that to happen if there's no value for this. Same with the %off. This is also text. Actually, just make this one number. And we should save that. Let's move it up. Move it up here. Where is it? Coupons. Move it up under categories. You can also nest it if you want. You can see this tools is nested, but you have to make sure your CSS can handle that. Ours currently doesn't, but we're not doing any nesting in our menu, so we're good now for now. So let's go ahead and add a coupon and see if it works. Let's add a new one. So let's name it coupon. Let's do %off. And we don't need the value for that. Let's do 50% off. Actually, let's do 10% off. Save. Okay, let's check our app. Let's just put something in here randomly. Laptop 3, add to cart, proceed to checkout, coupon. So it should be 10% off this. And yeah, that looks like it works. Cool. Now let's figure out how to associate categories with products. So initially, I'm going to do this in the most basic way. And the most basic way is just to follow what we have in our database and just populate this pivot table manually. Now, ideally, we'd want to have something like in WordPress, like this is a post, and here are all the categories, and we want to just be able to, when we're making a post, and in our case this would be a product, we want to associate the categories at the same time. but that involves more work. It involves custom controllers, custom views, which we'll explore in a later video. So for now, let's just put bread on that pivot table. So let's go ahead and do that. So tools, menu builder, database. So here's our pivot table here, category product. Let's add bread to this table. Now this model name does not exist in our application, so we have to make sure that that exists. So PHP artisan make model category product. Go into our code, category product, and let's just associate the table. So protected table equals, what is it? It's category underscore product. Okay, let's make it single quotes. Back to Voyager. And what font do we want to use for this? I think there's one called tag. Yeah, let's use this one. Sort of like a tag. Category, I mean. So Voyager tag. And yeah, this is just 2 columns. We don't need this. We don't need this. And these are just numbers. And save that. Okay, and there it is there. Let's move it up. Move this up. Let's move it right here. And refresh. It's right here. Let's make sure there's server-side pagination as well, because that it has the same number of records as our products table, and it takes a bit to load. Where is it? Edit. Pagination, yes. Save. And that should load faster. Cool. Alright, so let's just add a product and let's see if we can associate a category with it. So new product, details here. Let's see, $39.99. This is a description of the new product. Okay, save that. We still have that validation on there. Let's just call it new. So this should be in our database. So if we go to, let's go to another one, shop. Like you won't see it here because our code only shows ones that have a category associated with them or are featured. But if we go here to the slug that we defined, it should show up. Obviously, it's going to be no image. We'll work on that later on as well. But there it is. Cool. So let's see if we can associate this with a category. So this is 85. Let's go into here. So let's put it into our instruments. A new one. So 85 should be associated with 8. Let's go ahead and do that. So add new. Product ID is 85. 8. Okay. Now if you go into here, let's shop. Let's check our instruments. And there it is. Awesome. Again, that's not the ideal way, but it's a good first step. Alright, one final thing I want to do is just change some of the branding. If we go into here, into /admin, to show you where you can change this, and you can change this text as well. So if you go into here, there's a place called settings, and you can actually make your own settings here, but there's already default admin ones where you can change it here. So the admin title is this right here. So we'll change that to Laravel e-commerce example. Welcome to the admin. The loader is that little steering wheel you see spinning around. You can change that as well, but we'll leave it. And the background image is this, and let's change that. I actually have something from Unsplash. So we'll just add that, save the settings, and go into here, refresh, and there you go. So there you have it, guys. We've managed to set up an admin backend where somebody can go in and add new products, categories, coupons, etc. Now, if we were to build this from scratch, this would have taken a very long time, but you can see that Laravel Voyager works really well and allows us to get up and running as quickly as possible. In the next few videos, we'll take a look at more admin features as there's still a lot to work on. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Okay, thanks. Bye.